Now, this is something that is, I think, an indication once again of the fact that the left seems to idolize, as David Horowitz himself has pointed out many times, people who hate America and want to destroy it. You can go back decades on this. You take, for example, Emma Goldman, an anarchist from around the beginning of the 20th century, who was a darling of the left at the time, although she openly applauded the assassination of President William McKinley and was clearly not somebody who was in the slightest degree a patriotic American. You can think about Alger Hiss, who posed as a patriotic American, but was actually a spy for the Soviet Union, was unmasked as a spy for the Soviet Union by Whittaker Chambers, who was his fellow spy for the Soviet Union and had worked with him in espionage until Chambers realized how evil the communists were, and like David Horowitz, turned against them and began to fight against them, as Horowitz did. You should all read Destructive Generation by David Horowitz and the late great Peter Collier, explaining their life as leftist activists and what disillusioned them, as well as Horowitz's whole memoir himself, Radical Son, which is just that, a detailing of how he was brought up as a hater of America, as a subversive, and ultimately came to love this land. Alger Hiss did not. Alger Hiss continued to spy for the Soviet Union, and after he was unmasked by Whittaker Chambers, he became a hero of the left. And I'm talking about, this is the 1950s. Adlai Stevenson, who was the Democratic candidate for president twice, 1952 and 1956. Eleanor Roosevelt, the widow of President Franklin Roosevelt. So many people took up the cause of Alger Hiss and stoutly defended him. And you got to wonder, where did they ever defend with the same kind of passionate intensity anybody who was a defender of America? And it's the same thing now with the left and Mahmoud Khalil. Caroline Leavitt, Trump's press secretary, she said, "This is an individual who organized group protests that not only disrupted college campus classes and harassed Jewish American students and made them feel unsafe on their own campus, but also distributed pro-Hamas propaganda, flyers with the logo of Hamas. This administration is not going to tolerate individuals having the privilege of studying in our country and then siding with pro-terrorist organizations that have killed Americans." Now, that actually makes it an open shut case to deport this man, because Mahmoud Khalil was a representative of Columbia University Apartheid Divest, CUAD, which openly declared its intention, its desire to destroy not only the United States, but Western civilization. And they would chant in explicit support for Hamas, "Yes, we're all Hamas, pig," and "Al-Qassam, you make us proud, kill another soldier now," that being the name of the rockets that Hamas was firing into Israel. CUAD praised the alleged resistance of Hamas against Israel. And this is the kind of thing that gets you deported, actually, if you are like Mahmoud Khalil here on a green card. Because according to US Code 1227, under the rubric Deportable Aliens, it says that any alien who is a representative of a political, social, or other group that endorses or espouses terrorist activity can be deported. Now, Mahmoud Khalil, he might well not be deported if the left gets its way, but that would be in clear violation of this law. He has actually over 100 lawyers. Now, you got to wonder, how does a guy who's a graduate student at a university afford over 100 lawyers when most of us can barely afford one, if that? Well, obviously, it's like I said, he's a darling of the left. All this leftist legal firepower is behind him to keep him in the country. And it's not despite the fact that he was chanting death to America, it's because of the fact that he was chanting death to America. In other words, they love him because he hates America.